filmmaker Elena Rossini on. Thank you so much. Straight from Paris, France, by way of Como, Italy. You are making documentaries, and you have your first full-length documentary out about women and about imagery. When did you start wanting to be a filmmaker? Well, let's start from that. When did that start happening?
It happened about 10 years ago. I have a lot of passions in my life. I've always adored photography, storytelling, and also been really passionate about all things computers. And I found that with filmmaking, I could combine all of my passions in one activity: writing a film, producing it, being behind the camera to film it, and doing the editing itself. And I describe myself as a real-life Lisa Simpson, in the sense that I've always been very passionate about social justice and women's issues, a little bit like Lisa.
Did that come from your family?
No, that actually happened after I moved from the US to France. And I had a little bit of a culture shock because I felt that the way that women were seen in America was very different from France. I had a really hard time being taken seriously as a female director when I was in France, and that really was like a real awakening when it came to, you know, women's equality and social justice.
You felt it, you know, nobody, when you come up against it, you just know it's there.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to get the chance because you are a female. So that started to shape what it was that you were going to do.
Exactly.
You went to Boston University, and then you went to Emerson, where you honed some skills, I'm thinking, into filmmaking. You've done a lot of things in a short amount of time, as I've watched you on the internet with filmmaking and websites, all to give the idea that you are a disruptor.
Yeah.
You're changing things. Where did and we're going to see it in just a second, where did the idea for the Illusionists come from?
I noticed an epidemic of body dissatisfaction in all the women in my life across different generations. So I noticed how women of my mom's age were really struggling with aging. And then young nieces, I noticed how they would be very fierce and like strong and happy when they were little kids. And then, you know, going into adolescence, how they were very much taken by insecurities around their bodies.
Because they weren't good enough, you felt like, I have to be this or I have to be that?
I felt that they became, like hitting puberty, they became incredibly self-conscious about their bodies and their body size and their physical appearance. And it really motivated me to start doing research. And I read an article that really hit close to home, and I decided I'm gonna do a movie about this.
Right then and there.
Right then and there,
So
yeah.
you have shot in the United States, the United Kingdom, Netherlands, France, Italy, Lebanon, India, Japan.
Yeah.
It's a 91-minute long documentary. Let's take a look at the trailer of this movie.
Well, there they are. Our new electronic media, or our new gadgets. You push a button and the world's yours. You know how they talk about the world getting smaller? Well, it's thanks to these that it is. Everywhere is now our own neighborhood. But not only is the world getting smaller, it's becoming more available and more familiar to our minds and to our emotions. The world is now a global village. A global village.
We see the selling of the westernized image as the badge of modernity in India, in Singapore, in China, in Japan. where the notion of how you join globalized culture is the taking of a Western body.
There is one of those trends happening where we are trying to embody this westernized, modernized image because that's where power comes from. Power in society, power in the Western world, power in your job, power with your own beauty.
Se blanchir la peau, ou en tout cas ce qu'on appelle le décapage, est devenu pas banal mais pratiquement.
If you walk around the streets of Lebanon, I think you'd realize that most people look the same, specifically people from a certain social class that have the money to have this many surgeries.
一つ私が思うことは、アニメでも、モデルでも理想化された身体になるっていうことに、日本の女性たちは脅迫されているように感じるんですけれども、そこの一番の根本をよく考えてみると、やはり
I can remember when I was a high school student that body image was just not a concern. Nobody in those days worried about whether they had a six-pack of abdominal muscles or faithfully went to the gym 6 days a week. It just was not an issue when I was a teenager.
It's often seemed to me that a person who feels happy and secure isn't going to be a very good consumer because that person isn't going to be looking for products to shore up the self-image or to feel better about oneself.
All right, so you shot this, you edited it, you traveled. What else did you do for this film? Because you did it all on a shoestring, right?
I did everything that you see on screen, so I took care of all the visuals. I was the cinematographer, I was the editor, I even did the motion graphics. And then I had the extraordinary chance to get the help of Peter Coyote, who did the voiceover narration, Pierre-Marie Molini, who did the original score of the film, and a sound mixer. But it was 4 people, 3 who did sound, and I took care of all of the visuals for the film.
How did you get the money to do this?
I did a crowdfunding campaign, and then I also got sponsorship from women's organizations and from the Center for Eating Disorders at Sheppard Pratt.
But when you set out to do this, you had no idea where the funding was going to come from?
No.
Or were there lonely years when this was going together? And how did you put this together in your own head?
Yeah, so I often tell the story when I show the film that I did not have a single piece of good news for 7 years in a row. It was an uphill battle, it was very much a struggle. And I honestly did not know that the project would ever, find a day where it would be complete and out into the world. And I'm so happy that throughout the long journey, I got the support of a lot of people, especially online. I would say that Twitter and Facebook were really instrumental in keeping me passionate and motivated. And by being very vocal online about the message of the film and wanting to spark like a body image revolution, I had a lot of allies, a lot of people that contacted me and they said, we want to help you. So one that comes to mind is the father of 2 young girls. He lives in California. He got me a screening at UN Women and an interview on NPR.
Just out of the blue?
Just out of the blue. And I have lots of examples like that of people that saw the trailer or they read about the film and they said, those are really important issues. We want to help you. We want to help you get the word out.
So now you are showing it around the globe, and obviously it's online as well. Mm-hmm. What are people saying to you after they view all 91 minutes?
Yeah, so the first comment that often pops up every time that I do a public screening is, I love this movie. How can I show it to everyone that I know? This was just like told to me at Harvard, like first comment that came during the Q&A. So the most common type of comment is, this is really striking and thought-provoking, and we want to, try and show it to everyone that we know. And this comes not just from women, but also from men.
So you just said, I'm showing this at Harvard. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So word of mouth is taking off. And are you thrilled by this, and are you ready to go on to the next project? Because it seems like you are going to socially change how people think about women. And in the election in the United States right now going on, that seems to be one of the biggest topics about women and how they're paid and how they're viewed and how they're treated. So this is very timely on your part.
Yeah, I felt that the timing could not have been better for the film to be released right when we're having public discussions about body image, body shaming. And to me, the most important thing is, I feel that for women, we are associating women's value to the way that they look. And my wish for the future is that we could go beyond that, because I feel it's so reductive to assign value to someone just based on their physical appearance. And there's so much insecurity, that's like built around commercial culture and making women feel that they have to look a certain way. And I'm truly hoping that the film can spark a public discussion and a conversation, and ultimately lead to a body image revolution.
I would think that every school in America would want you in their school to just show this imagery that you have shot. You're going to go back and forth between Europe and the United States, and you're just going to go wherever people want you to show up? Is that what you're doing these days?
Yeah, and I am so lucky. I have gotten recently the most amazing endorsement from Joss Whedon, who directed The Avengers. He created Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and he gave me this amazing testimonial. He said, the Illusionists should be in every school and possibly in every home. So I am truly hoping, to have the film be shown in every high school and university in the United States.
And if somebody wants you to come to their school in the United States, how do they get a hold of you?
There's all the information on the Illusionists website. And the Media Education Foundation is the educational distributor for the film. So not just schools, but libraries all over the US, they can purchase the film, and nonprofits as well.
That's terrific. Elena Rossini, thank you so much for coming here.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for shooting that documentary. It's very good.
Thank you.
When one this in, who's this girl? Spend all night kissing, and if one was right here, then who else is missing? Got a little sidetracked if I'm so wishing to find the keys to the door, but it's also a metaphor. Need to keep locked in the grocery store of my mind, just to save time. Skip right ahead to the last ride. The harder we look, the less we can see. Don't you know, you know that you need me.